The Destroyer armor. Let's talk about how overpowered it is. This battle-bred behemoth was created by the almighty Odin himself to be the living embodiment of victory, unstoppable, unbeatable. There's been a number of people who use them over the years. It is an enchanted suit of armor in a humanoid form. Speaking of enchantments from Odin, other Skyfathers also lend their hand in giving a fraction of their godly power to it. Odin takes the armor to his fellow Skylords, each of whom bestows on it a fraction of their godly might, making it virtually all-powerful, which could give lore an explanation on why it's so freaking durable, which when animated by the life force of a sentient being, exercises immense powers which make it virtually invincible. Keep note how they keep saying it's enchanted by Odin, on top of the metal being extremely durable on its own. They even stated in these old guidebooks, even more durable than Adamantium or Uru. Don't sleep on it. And no matter which guidebook they say similar things about it, there's implications in the lore that the stronger the being's life force, the stronger the destroyer will be. I would assume that somebody like Odin possessing the Destroyer will be a lot more powerful than somebody like Captain America possessing the Destroyer. That makes sense. That's like the writer's excuse to say that the power varies. When it comes to possessing the Destroyer, it is programmed to possess the intelligence of the life force that animates him, in conjunction with its own programming to destroy also, so it's going to be more inclined to destroy if you possess something like this. So it can kind of make you under its influence to some degree and act out of character, I guess. There are exceptions to the rule when it comes to possessing the Destroyer, like certain people's willpower can overpower the programmed intelligence of it. However, only Odin, Thor, and Loki have ever forced the Destroyer to obey their will while animating it. But there has been occasions where Thor lost control of himself to the Destroyer too, though. He even stated that the enchanted metal subverts the will of even the strongest who don it. They try to say it's a curse. No matter your intended programming, according to Scourge, the Destroyer will destroy its foes, even if you don't necessarily want to kill. It wouldn't be a smart idea for a future version of yourself to possess the Destroyer and try to fight a younger version of yourself, because then the Destroyer will get confused and it will merge their two souls together because they technically are the same soul. One's just an older version of yourself, like in this occasion with Maestro, with the Destroyer and stuff, and it kind of backfired. So one could say, don't ever possess the Destroyer to try to have him beat up a younger version or older version of yourself. Y'all might end up just messing it up and merging together because of the Destroyer possessing its soul and stuff. Life force. It's almost like I don't even have to go over feats. The description up right here is telling me all the feats, talking about how it can destroy. It can shoot energy blasts that can destroy substances like Uru. That's already a feat. Asgardian metal, which Thor's hammer is made of. It can project magnetic energy and flames. Not to mention in the same guidebook, it shows them fighting Thor tier characters, so it's obvious. More guidebook stuff. A lot of folk believe the Destroyer to be made out of the same stuff Thor's hammer is made of, but it's actually made of an unknown substance, even harder than adamantium or Uru. It stated no one can physically wear or dismantle the armor of the Destroyer, so you got to use it by possessing it with your soul, basically. Didn't the description say that nobody can wear the Odin armor? I guess anybody but Odin can wear the Odin armor. They said that the power of the armor of the Destroyer infused with ancient and arcane magic strong enough to face universal Armageddon itself, carrying the Odin sword of Asgard forged from the legendary 9 rings. Stated here, nothing can save him except for the power of Odin himself. It's implied here it's above even Thor, even stated created to be stronger than any living being, god or mortal. Stated its strength surpasses even the Thunder God himself. Destroyer is so strong, even when it fought the freaking Hulk, it kind of even got the better of the Hulk, showing its power. Many occasions fighting the Destroyer, characters like Thor, power even greater than mine, they say. Its power in general, when it was fighting with Thor and Hercules, it holds its ground fighting with them in a war. You know it's strong when Loki plots to have the Destroyer and Thor destroy each other, proving that he thinks he's capable of taking on Thor. Even in more newest art, Asgardian's greatest weapon, unstoppable suit of living armor, proving that the lore for it hasn't really changed since the newest stuff either. Thor hyping it up even more, saying his deadliest being ever to stride Midgard or realm or the gods themselves, the Destroyer. According to Thor, it's the deadliest entity ever created. Loki, Thor's brother, adopted brother, stated he's the most powerful single entity in all the universe. On top of all this stuff about the Destroyer, it supposedly has superhuman fighting skills too. The Destroyer literally just flexing his power can make mountains tremble. In case you didn't know it, it's confirmed that it can literally shatter a planet. When the Destroyer fights Thor, like on its many occasions, it literally makes windows shatter, walls collapse. They detect seismic activity, them two causing crazy collateral with their blows. Oh, believe it or not, there has been times when Thor possessed the Destroyer armor. Yeah, imagine Destroyer infused with a powerful deity like Thor's life force, in the dimension with Hela, of course. Supposedly can make the mountains of hell dance. Thor Destroyer stated that his power that he possesses right now is powerful enough to divide even worlds in twain. Oh yeah, here's a longer occasion of the Destroyer fighting Hulk. The Hulk one being one of the poster boys when it comes to powerhouses in Marvel. Destroyer on this occasion beat the snot out of Sif. Blows between Destroyer and Thor. Their blows shake the entire Asgard foundations themselves. I love these narrations in comics to where the reader really can't really misinterpret what they're saying if it's narrated. The Destroyer knocks Thor unconscious. Well, you know them fighting again. Gives Thor a beating that not even adamantium slab could take that kind of beating. You guys got to get the idea. When it comes to him fighting characters like Thor and catching stuff like Mjolnir, stated he's the personification of Odin's unmatchable might. You guys get the idea though. He's fought, wore the Destroyer armor, has fought Thor on too many separate occasions. Oh, just for those that are curious, yeah, he pretty much messed up Hulk really bad with his blast power. The Destroyer did. Just for those that are confused, don't mess with the Destroyer. Destroyer armor is not afraid to fight dark elves and damage them like Curse. Beings like the Executioner, aka Scourge, get tossed aside when Thor is in the armor. Beats down Thunderstrike, beat up Gladiator and Kid Gladiator. Laid him out. Gladiator even said Destroyer never felt such power. The same Gladiator that's strong enough to wrestle planets from their orbits and collapse stars with his bare hands. Or the same Gladiator that can simply rip apart black holes with his bare hand. This same Gladiator that can do all that said he never felt such power. For those that are wondering, that Destroyers are millions or billions of times past planet-shattering levels. Thor and Beta Ray Bill tiers can destroy stuff that's literally bigger than stars. I already showed you a billion times of him fighting characters like Thor. Thor and Beta Ray Bill are relative in power. Remember that Beta Ray Bill, with his fight against Stardust, rocked the heavens or the universe and shocked the very firmament of the universe. When it comes to Silver Surfer, Beta Ray Bill, Gladiator, they're all around the same range of power. They've even been ranked to be around the same range of power by Icon, one of the Galadorian Space Knights. Stated here, Alpha class power, Quasar, Beta Ray Bill, Alpha plus, Silver Surfer's also Alpha plus. That's pretty much evidence that Silver Surfer and Gladiator, Beta Ray Bill are in the same range of power. It even stated about Gladiator, Alpha plus. All of these beings are Alpha plus. Despite all this information I just told you, it didn't stop them from getting laid out. Gladiator, I've never felt such power. Implying that the Destroyer just beat him with straight raw power. And he's strong enough to knock Jane Foster, Thor aside. The entire city of New York trembled at his blow. The Destroyer armor knocked the heck out of the High Evolutionary, makes Jane bleed using Mjolnir. Yikes. The Destroyer literally shattered Sif's sword, and you guessed it, beat up Sif, implied to be able to fly through space if it wishes, like flying at massively fast and light speed. Galactus was using the Destroyer with a part of his life force, or thousands and thousands of his life force. I mean, the Destroyer cracked the Hulk's ribs with a bear hug, yo. Literally stated that his strength equals his own. A god like Thor grabs and reacts to Hercules' punch, and even throws the god of strength himself, Hercules. His speed, strength are all relative to powerhouses. Heck, he even caught Mjolnir this one time. The reason why he can lift Mjolnir is because since the Destroyer is a creation of Odin, which makes perfect sense, which is why he's so deadly in the first place. All these occasions of the Destroyer holding Mjolnir. Millions of tons of solid rock crash on top of the Destroyer, and he simply breaks out. Let me slam two Thors at the same time over my head. Strong enough to throw Loki aside. Don't forget, he was choking Hela this one time when it was possessed by the life force of Thor, of course. Freya gets choked. Also, obviously the Destroyer can lift cars. Better be able to, especially considering that Thor can lift planet-sized snakes. And for Pete's sake, wielding the Odin sword, don't you dare try to clash with him or he will literally break your mallet. This is a young Thor wielding Mjolnir. Breaking it, even when all this debris falls on him, he doesn't budge. Obviously, he has crazy durability that matches its strength. Remember that time when Dr. Doom took over the Destroyer armor? Don't get it twisted. When the Destroyer armor isn't enchanted no more, the power level of it drastically goes down to where it can be actually thrashed. But when it's at full power, it's almost near impossible to do something like this to the Destroyer armor. Only weakness I would say is the enchantment. If the enchantment of the Odin Force, the enchantment gets taken away from it, it can get depowered to the point where a powerhouse tier can actually take it down, I would say. Obviously, Destroyer armor is bulletproof. Trying to use an axe against it literally shatters on its knee. Captain America's shield, no, that ain't gonna cut it. Unaffected by being stabbed internally, and it's still okay, choke you out. Stated our flashing swords cannot prevail against such. It can take attacks from beings that have the power of a living mountain. Humdal's powerful sword ain't even gonna cut it. And Sif tries to cut it, no dice, unaffected. Well, its arm is unaffected by the heat of the sun. It can take a ton of lightning, especially fighting Thor, million times fighting Thor. Usually magic can counter it, but it's empowered by Thor's life force. It can resist magical attacks and such. In this occasion, it was staggered by magical attacks here. It gives you an example that magic can be like the key to taking it on. Didn't the description say that nobody can wear the Odin armor? I guess anybody but Odin can wear the Odin armor. They said that the power of the armor of the Destroyer infused with ancient and arcane magic strong enough to face universal Armageddon itself, carrying the Odin Sword of Asgard forged from the legendary 9 rings. There's implications that the Destroyer can fight for eternity, stamina, fighting all these monsters and such. It's implied to have regeneration capabilities, destroyed, gone, melted into slag. The Destroyer absorbed the life force of anybody who got too close to him and came alive again, implying it has resurrecting ability. Maybe we can kill it by destroying him from the inside out. Well, his disintegration being fired from the inside of its body, it can withstand its own power, basically. When it comes to the Destroyer's blast power, I would say whatever it can do physically, the blast could do similar stuff to its raw strength, or the Destroyer's punching power in general. It's implied he can shoot the beams in different areas, not just his face, but also the arm, make his beam curve. When Dr. Doom possessed it, he was able to fire beams from his torso. Of course, in this occasion, fighting Thor. Thor possessing Destroyer fired a beam from hell to earth. 2 beams of energy race across the dimensional barrier between the worlds. It proves they can blast at faster than light speeds, even faster perhaps than light itself. They travel, scorching the barriers of reality in their passing. It has so much blast power, it can cut off a piece of Mjolnir like, bruh, sliced it in 2. It was sorely damaged in the battle with the Destroyer. It still busted up. Not to mention the Destroyer's blast power can crack it as well. According to Kid Loki, obviously it can blow up evil floating cities in a single glance. Of course, city destroying stuff is easy for him. Disarms Jane Foster Thor of Mjolnir, collapses a mountain by destroying its foundation, blows a frost giant away, night frost giants, overpowered the Scarlet Witch's magic, blasting mountain because he's too strong. He even has transmutation beams, like turning things into stone, liquidizing the floor. You can't be this overpowered and have transmutation ability too. It can even affect beings that have resistance to transmutation, even stating that if it touches me, I'll be transformed into another element. And it shall be the end of Mighty Thor. Even though Thor has resistance to this stuff, it can affect beings on his tier of durability. Reduces Thor's body and armor into plasma. It is stated that the Destroyer's power can melt a planet into nothingness. Obviously, it can do such a thing. It's stated that the Destroyer has the power to tear the very fabric of eternity. It even threatened to disintegrate Odin, an actual Skyfather. Oh yeah, by the way, the Destroyer actually did kill Thor. For those that are wondering that has it ever done so, yeah. But he was actually saved by Scarlet Witch, because she got magical abilities and such. Epic. Even freaking Celestials that have mountain-sized heads, he can make an entrance for himself with its blast power. On this occasion, he possesses the Odin Sword on top of his gargantuan power. Destroyer's blast can even destroy spirit cells. Destroyer Thor. This Destroyer created fingers flaming with heat of Surtur, the fire demon, heat more potent than a dozen flaming suns. One can say it can blast out any element it wishes. Oh yeah, the Destroyer can grow to mountainous sizes too. Like you see the mountains and it's way bigger than it, growing to a giant size. You see that? One could say the Destroyer goes through character evolutions, like it implied to get stronger every time it's activated. It's literally stated 3 times before has the Destroyer been given life, and each time it becomes more difficult to defeat him. The Destroyer seemed to learn from each activation and became strong on each subsequent waking. It's powerful enough to heal other Skyfather, Teal, or Helllord type characters like Hela. At the peak of his power, I would say that the Destroyer, in base, it's already considerably above our normal powerhouse base tier. At its prime, with the Odin Sword, I would say it can even jump up there with the Celestial tiers, even be able to slice off an arm of a freaking Celestial. Even though the Destroyer is a beast, this is one of the few times where I would say the Celestials are above him, especially teaming up on him. But notice the fact that it had to be more than one. Maybe he could take on one Celestial one-on-one, right? I mean, come on now, like, ain't nobody taking this many blasts from this many Celestials. So this is one of the few times it can actually be damaged with just raw power and melting it in the slag. So maybe I would say it's below a full-powered Galactus. Maybe it's on the level of a well-fed Galactus, because we know Galactus, when he's pretty good fed, he can fight more than one Celestial and even kill one of them. The Destroyer is slightly below Galactus like this. It still got overpowered by a whole bunch of Celestials, but you get the idea. But what do you guys think? It's definitely, I would say, it's above Skyfathers at its peak, though. Even above our favorite powerhouses in base. It just varies depending on which soul possessing it. I would say, as soon as a human possesses something like the Destroyer, they're instantly a powerhouse plus tier, instantly. And then if somebody like Odin possesses it, it's even worse. You know what I'm saying? I already showed you what the powerhouses can do. I mean, considering that beings like Thor that he beat up a whole bunch of times in this video can lift planet-sized snakes, normal powerhouse tiers in their base states, 2 Thors colliding on one another, can literally make shockwaves that span the entire cosmos, can literally make shockwaves that span the entire universe, even across all planes of reality. Not since the legendary Big Bang such an irresistible force been loosed in this universe. And these are just standard powerhouse tier characters, and Skyfathers are usually above this. Many miles in every direction, even distant space fleets And that's just a base Thor. Imagine what a base destroyer can do with a normal human possessing it, let alone a Skyfather like Odin possessing it. But that could be just me. What do you guys think? How strong do you think the destroyer is in its prime? Do you think he can reach the levels of a fully powered Galactus or maybe a well-fed Galactus? What do you think? It's blessed by other Skyfathers. No wonder it's so strong. And it's stronger than adamantium and even Uru metal that's made of Thor's hammer. All fathers can create and destroy galaxies like it's nothing. Imagine how strong the destroyer will be when Odin possesses it. You know what I'm saying? But I will see you guys later. Respect the destroyer. Gotta give a shout out to everybody that's donated to the channel. Helps out a lot. Thank you guys.